If you're like everyone else who works with and deals with dental insurance companies, I'm sure you're at this point where you're ready to say, sayonara, you're out of here, I'm done with you, it's time to break up. You might even have some kind of unsavory things to say when someone talks to you about dental insurance. And I get it, I totally understand they're frustrating, they don't want to pay, they pay low amounts, they're always fighting you. I get it. And you should have that mindset. You should, no matter where you are, whether you work with every plan under the sun, or whether you work with just a few, you should always have the mindset of how much more can we get from them? And you should also have the mindset of, are there any of these companies that we're just ready to fire and get rid of them? My name is Kevin Johnson. I'm the CEO of Leverage Consulting, as well as a creator of Leverage U, an online university. So when you have this mindset of something has to change, something has to get better, we need to just change our relationship with the insurance companies. You have to know they're doing it every year. I mean, their business model is really to collect as much as they can and pay out as little as they can. So they really, in some respects, they go through all the right motions. They say and do all the right things in terms of we're here for the customer. So let's take stock of what the situation is. You have the dental insurance company, you have the patient, and you have yourself. The contract is really with the insurance company and the patient. You're just, in a sense, like a third party. You're third wheel. The insurance companies owe you nothing. So when you call and you work with the insurance companies, you're doing the patient a favor. And you and your team really, in fact, play this video for your team. Get them to listen to this, because you have to be reminded periodically that you are a third party. You are doing the patient a favor by even taking the insurance, processing the insurance, submitting the claims, fighting the insurance company. I mean, think about it. You may employ 1 to 2 people on your team purely to submit claims, maximize patient benefits, fight the insurance company, and do all these different things. It's an expense out of pocket for you. So you have to have this attitude and literally a system every year where you go back and you say, can we change our relationship with these dental insurance companies? So there's 3 things I want to talk to you about in this video about how you can go about getting rid of dental insurance. And when I say get rid of it, let's really think of it as changing the nature of your relationship with these insurance companies. So one thing I see far too many people do is they have an emotional response to working with the insurance companies. And for the insurance companies, it's purely data, it's facts. All they're trying to do is collect as much as they can and then turn around and pay as little as possible. That's how they create a profit. Well, you have to fight just as hard. You have to make sure that the way you go about this is you're trying to maximize your own profit. So the first and foremost thing that you need to do when you are making this decision, and at least going through this process once a year, is you need to pull data. And you need to pull how much you've produced, how much you've written off, how much you've collected, and then the 4th thing is, what is your patient count under each one of those plans? We're going to run those 4 numbers for each one of the plans that you work with. And then from there, you should go to your team and ask them, on a scale of 1 to 10, how easy are they to work with? So a 10 would be, oh, it's super easy. We put the claims in, we either get a report back the next day saying we need to fix some things, or we get paid in 5 to 7 days. That's a great insurance company. But on the flip side, we also know that there are some companies out there that they are going to reject everything you send into them. You're also going to have companies that they don't do anything electronic. They're still paper in today's day and age. Who believe that? So you have to kind of like gauge them. So imagine this. If you're a general dental practice and you wrote off 50% under XYZ dental insurance company. It's one I call Never Pays Insurance. You're writing off 50% of whatever you produce, and then on top of it, they're fighting you. So you've already figured out we produced this, we've written off this, so it's 50%. And then your team comes back and says, on a scale of 1 to 10, they're like a 2. So it's difficult. So you have, in some respects, an unquantifiable way of figuring out or looking at dealing with this insurance company is costing you. It's costing you in your time. It's costing you in terms of your team's time. It's costing you in terms of your treatment acceptance rate, because some of these insurance companies, they don't want to pay you. And if they're paying you, then the patient's getting work done. So you have to look at it from the standpoint of being very objective and figuring out with each one of those, you run the 4 pieces of data I just mentioned, and then you have this somewhat subjective way of looking at how easy or hard are they to work with. So when you have that nailed down, it is funny because you don't know where to start. You don't know what to do. But if you run those 4 pieces of information, and then if you have that subjective viewpoint from your team that certain companies are hard and certain companies are easy, then it becomes really clear once you have that data in front of you that there are certain ones, they will stand out like a sore thumb, and you'll just know. So if you maybe you participate with 10 plans, and when you really pull that and you realize that this one is super difficult to deal with, we have about 75 patients that are on that plan. So not a ton when you really think about the 2,000 patients of record that might be in your practice. So maybe there's only 75 patients, and it's an insurance company where we write off 50% of our fee. And if your overhead is 60%, you're basically paying to see those patients. That's how you have to look at it. So it becomes abundantly clear in that scenario that never pays insurance needs to go away. And so at that point, you make an informed decision based on the data in front of me that this is the first one I can start chipping away at. So when you drop some of these plans, it's not going to be one fell swoop where you write a letter to 10 companies and say, bye-bye. Not unless you have really big coffers and you are really prepared to pull that trigger. And I would say 99% of the time, that's not going to be the case. This needs to be an evolutionary process that happens over a couple of years. Then, number 2, you need to look at, is our patient experience such that even if we got rid of XYZ dental insurance companies, that those patients still want to come. They still want to come to our practice every year. They still want to come to our practice, whether it's their cleanings, their fillings, or if you have a specialty practice for those things. You really need to look at, why will patients continue to come back? So if you're not constantly adding 5-star reviews, and that would be a really great way of looking at it, is, are we constantly adding 5-star reviews to Google, Facebook, and wherever else you're collecting reviews? If you're adding 40 of those a month, 50 of those a month, then I would say you are well on your way to positioning yourself in such a way that you can say, insurance company, we're out of here. And you have to have that kind of experience, because you can't have, and I wouldn't expect you to be this way, but let's think about someone who has a practice where going to their practice and getting your teeth cleaned or having any kind of dental service done is like going to the Department of Motor Vehicles. You just go in, you take care of your stuff, you don't even care about people's names, they don't care about your name. It's not a very personalized experience. In that scenario, that practice is going to have a really tough time dropping insurance plans and then turning around and expecting those same patients to keep coming back. Because I can guarantee you, in that scenario, the only reason that patient keeps coming back is because it's cheap. It's cheap because the insurance company is paying for a great deal of their visit. So the personalized experience can come in many different forms and fashions. And if you really, really want to have a plan in place, the experience that you and your team provide to the patients is going to be paramount to you saying goodbye to the dental insurance companies. So the third thing that you really need to look at is your marketing. And I would say there's far too many practices that do rely on dental insurance to do the marketing for them. It's a passive marketing program, if you will, because you signed a contract and then they put you on a list. And now, it doesn't matter what company it is. It could be Aetna, it could be Concordia, it could be whoever. It doesn't matter the name of the company, but you've now been put on a list. So the patient, maybe gets on that dental insurance company and they put in their zip code and they get a list of dentists. You're a participating provider. That's great. It's a way for you to market your practice passively just by being on the list of that dental insurance company. So again, if you're really looking at getting rid of an insurance company, in addition to having the data, in addition to knowing that you're providing a fantastic experience, your marketing has to be on point. Your marketing, you need to be able to go back to your new patient numbers. You need to go back and say, if we got 30 patients last month, what was the source of those patients? Were they from internal referrals, which should be as a result of the experience that you're providing to your patients? Was it a result of our social media marketing? Was it a result of pay-per-click campaign we're doing? What was it from? Hopefully you're starting to displace your new patient, your new patient flow as a result of dental insurance and being on a list, and displacing that number or outpacing that number with sources like internal referrals, social media marketing, pay-per-click advertising, or something else that's driven by you, that's purely a marketing campaign to bring in new patients. So again, if you're really looking to tell the insurance company to take a leap, just go get out of my life, we're changing our relationship, then you need to do the three things I'm talking about: is pull the data, make sure you and your team are providing a patient experience that no matter whether you drop the insurance company, they're still going to keep coming. That needs to be your attitude. You might be sitting here thinking, Kevin, as soon as I drop this plan, I'm going to see a bunch of them walk off into the sunset. And you're right, you will lose some. It's going to happen. And that's okay, because you want to open up your patient base. You want to open up your schedule to some degree for those patients who are willing and ready and able to pay for a white glove service. You want somebody who's willing, they're like, I don't care about healthcare right now in terms of the traditional healthcare system. I want healthcare where I get a great experience, but I also get preventive care. I don't want just the age-old kind of medicine where they're just treating symptoms, and we're not really skating to the puck in terms of they're providing me with healthcare, and which that's what dentistry is. They're providing me with the kind of healthcare to where I don't have problems. They're helping me not have problems, because let's face it, the best kind of dental insurance, if you've never heard this before, and if you don't say this to your patients, you need to start, is the best form of dental insurance and cutting costs in terms of not spending a lot in the dentist's office. Come to your cleaning every 6 months. That is the best form of dental insurance out there, is attending and being part of your cleaning every 6 months. Listen to your hygienist and make sure that you're following the home care instructions to a T. You do that, you will spend the least amount of money in a dental practice. That is what you should be saying to every one of your patients, whether they're new patients or your long-term patients. So again, you do the three things I just mentioned, and then you will have an informed decision with running the data, providing a great experience, and having a purpose-driven marketing campaign that outpaces the new patients that you get from the dental insurance companies. When you do those three things, this is not a long list. This is a really straightforward, simplistic list for you to drop the dental insurances. So if you have any questions, you have any comments, you have anything, feel free to drop it in the comments below. If you have any topics that you would love me to discuss in a future video, I'd love to hear from you as well. And if this is the kind of content that is helpful to you, it will help you grow and scale your practice, create more production and less stress, hit like and hit subscribe, because I have content just like this every week, every month, that will help you, again, grow and scale your practice.